Hello, Chariton. I'm Ben Johnston, and I'm running for our school board because I love this community and our country's history. As philosopher George Centennial said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. I'm concerned that we're losing our historic and civic identity in our schools, and I want to change that. Our founding fathers built America on principles of freedom, including religious liberty. The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This means that there can be no official church to force religion on anyone, but it also protects our right to express our faith freely. The founders knew that morality was essential to our nation. John Adams puts it clearly. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. James Madison, the father of the Constitution, agreed. In 1788, he wrote, "To suppose that any form of government will secure liberty or happiness without any virtue in the people is a chimerical idea." Madison believed that morality and virtue, often rooted in faith, were essential for our republic to thrive. That's why I believe our schools should honor these principles, teaching students to respect both faith and freedom. George Washington, in his Thanksgiving Proclamation of 1789, said, "It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor." The founders clearly recognized the importance of public expressions of faith. Some in Chariton argue we need a strict separation of church and state in our schools. But that phrase doesn't appear in our Constitution. It comes from a letter Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1802 to the Danbury Baptists, who feared state officials would persecute them for their faith. Jefferson reassured them that the First Amendment built a wall of separation to protect their religious liberty, not to remove faith from public life. In the 20th century, however, this phrase was reinterpreted, especially in court cases like Everson v. Board of Education in 1947. The Supreme Court used Jefferson's words to argue for a stricter divide between religion and government, sometimes limiting religious expression in public spaces like schools. This shift moved away from Jefferson's original intent to shield the faithful from government control, not to erase it from our culture. In Chariton, we don't face a real threat to the First Amendment from anyone because we simply don't force faith on anyone. We celebrate it as our founders intended. As a school board member, I will respect the rights of students to voluntarily express their faith. Faith has driven some of America's greatest achievements, and we should teach our kids about them. Take Dr. Benjamin Rush, a founding father and devout Christian. As a leading physician, he revolutionized medical education and improved care at Pennsylvania Hospital, laying the groundwork for modern healthcare. His faith inspired his tireless work for the common good. Dr. Rush, speaking on education, said, "The only foundation for a useful education in a republic is to be laid in religion. Without this, there can be no virtue, and without virtue, there can be no liberty." Then there is also Horace Mann, known as the father of American public education. Mann believed education was a moral duty. In the 1830s and 40s, during the Industrial Revolution, he championed free, universal public schools, ensuring every child had access to learning. Mann wrote that moral education is a primal necessity of social existence, and that societies that don't teach morality inevitably destroy themselves. These faithful Americans show how belief and faithful service built our nation, and our students should learn from their example. The push to remove faith and morality from public life has had disastrous consequences, such as broken families and skyrocketing rates of teenage anxiety and depression. Now, I support education for all, every child, no matter their background. But I'm concerned about modern voices that want to rewrite history to downplay America's founding principles, focusing only on our flaws. Our kids deserve a balanced education, one that celebrates what made us great, like our commitment to liberty, while honestly addressing where we have stumbled, so that we don't repeat those mistakes. I also support constitutional right to express a student's faith in school, whether it is praying before a game or sharing their beliefs respectfully. Unlike some voices in Chariton pushing for restrictive policies, I believe our schools should reflect our community's values, celebrating faith, not silencing it. Chariton, our kids need an education that inspires pride and wisdom. As your school board member, I'll fight for a curriculum that honors our history and protects our students' rights to live out their faith. Let's teach our children what made America great and how to learn from our past so we're not condemned to repeat it. I'm Ben Johnston, and I'd be honored to earn your vote on November 4th. Thank you, and God bless Chariton.